Last year, Lil Durk got locked up for allegedly setting up Quando Rondo, and in the process getting Quando's cousin killed. Now he's sitting behind bars waiting on trial. But word is, someone from inside the facility just spoke out, and what they're saying paints a whole different picture of Durk's time in lockup.
And I'm feeling good, just taking a day at a time, just chilling and...
That whole just chillin' vibe? Yeah, not quite. According to the claims, he's been breaking all kinds of rules behind bars. In this video, we're diving into what's really been going down since Durk got locked up and how it could make his legal mess even worse. Inside Lil Durk's life behind bars. As most of y'all already know, Lil Durk got picked up by the feds in late October 2024 in Florida on some serious murder-for-hire charges. This wasn't just any regular case. It was allegedly connected to a hit on Quando Rondo that ended up taking out Rondo's cousin, Saviaya Robinson, also known as Lil Pav, back in 2022. The indictment is heavy, including conspiracy to commit murder for hire, use of interstate facilities to commit murder for hire resulting in death, and them gun charges that the feds love to stack. If you've been following the whole Chicago drill movement, you probably already peeped that this case seems connected to the ongoing beef that popped off after King Von's murder in 2020. Von was Durk's right-hand man in the OTF, only the family camp, and he got clapped during a confrontation with Quando Rondo's squad. Many in the streets believe Durk's current legal drama stems from alleged get-back for what happened to Von. It's a whole tangled web of street politics, loyalty codes, and consequences that's now got Durk locked up in the Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, in Los Angeles, waiting on a trial that's been pushed back to October 2025. But what's really good with Smirk behind them walls? We've been able to piece together some intel from jail calls that have hit the internet. In November 2024, just a couple weeks after getting booked, Lil Durk was on a jail call that got shared by one of his homies on IG. During this call, bro made it clear to shut down some of the rumors about his situation, specifically denying that he was in PC, protective custody.
Man, what? The PC?
This is major because in jail politics, being in PC can sometimes get you labeled as soft or as someone who's telling. Instead, Durk emphasized that he was in Gen Pop, general population, and was actually getting mad respect from the other inmates, suggesting he's still carrying weight even while locked down. Then, in March 2025, another jail call hit the internet, this time between Lil Durk and Ye, formerly known as Kanye West. During this convo, Durk was still keeping it a buck about his situation, saying he was maintaining despite the circumstances. What's interesting is how he described passing time, by putting the other inmates on game about his travels around the world. This shows how he's keeping his spirits up and even maintaining his status in the jail, using his experiences as a successful rapper to connect with other inmates who might not have seen what he's seen. These calls paint a picture of a dude who, despite facing charges that could have him cooked for life, is adapting to his environment and keeping his head up. It's worth noting that when he was first locked up in Miami, reports described him as super charming and agreeable with both the COs, correctional officers, and other inmates, which suggests that Durk is navigating his bid with a certain level of finesse and resilience. But it ain't all been smooth sailing. There's been word that Durk's been violating jail rules, especially by making three-way calls when the COs specifically told him not to. The prosecutors even used this against him when fighting his bond, saying he can't even follow rules while locked up. These violations show how Durk might be trying to maintain his connections to the outside world, possibly with his family or his team, despite the restrictions of being in federal custody. What about the facility where he's at? MDC Los Angeles, where Durk is currently being housed, ain't your typical jail with bars and cells. It's got a different setup, with housing areas called rooms instead of cells, wooden doors instead of bars, and glass windows, balconies, and atriums. Some people have described it as having more the look of a downtown office building than a prison. The spot offers various programs like drug treatment, education, GED and ESL classes, medical care, and religious support through chaplains. But don't get it twisted. This is still a federal detention center with strict protocols, especially for high-profile inmates like Durk. And there have been security issues at the facility, with reports of at least 4 guards getting indicted for smuggling contraband, which could potentially impact the safety and vibe of the environment. In terms of staying connected to the outside, Durk seems to have maintained some presence despite being locked down. On November 1st, 2024, a track by Hypno Carlito called Where Smirk Go dropped, allegedly featuring a phone call from Lil Durk made from the jail. During this call, Durk showed love to his crew, saying, "Hypno Carlito, my mother fing brother from another, forever legend oft, only the family, and I take your fing streets over." You know what time it is, rest in peace. However, there was some skepticism about this recording, with some fans suggesting it might be AI generated or fake. Durk's album Deep Thoughts, which dropped on March 28, 2025, has also given us some insight into his mindset while being locked up. The project, which featured guest spots from Future, Lil Baby, Hunk Show, and Jane Aiko, includes tracks that seem to reflect on his current situation. Songs like Soul Bleed include lines that reference jail calls and the impact of incarceration on relationships, with lyrics such as, "I've been slacking lately, I've been putting before my team 10 toes, ask the county how many times my phone rings," which hits different given his current situation. Another track, Shaking While I Pray, gets real about his struggles, potentially made worse by being locked up, with lines like, "I had to slow down off that drink, I was in Cleveland Clinic, I almost met God for the week." Even the album cover was switched to show Durk in a graffiti jail cell, reflecting his current reality. It's important to note that Durk's legal troubles go beyond the murder-for-hire charges related to the 2022 shooting. During a detention hearing in December 2024, prosecutors alleged a possible connection to another body in Chicago, and in February 2025, Andrea Robinson, Xavier Robinson's mother, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Durk, making his legal situation even more complicated. Despite these challenges, Durk seems to be maintaining his connections to his family and the streets. His 11-year-old son, Zayden Banks, dropped a statement on IG defending his pops after the arrest. But let's be real, there is no way to defend what he did. This whole mess ain't just random. It's the result of years of bad moves, reckless choices, and straight-up foul behavior finally catching up to him. It all started with when he opened up the OTF record label. The bigger picture: beef, loyalty, and lessons. The rap beef between OTF, Only the Family, and NBA Never Broke Again isn't just some industry beef for the cameras. It's a multi-layered conflict with real consequences that has now caught up one of Chicago's most prominent rap figures. To understand Durk's current predicament, we need to trace this beef back to its roots and follow how it escalated to where we are now. The tension started brewing around 2019 with friction between King Von, who was signed to Durk's OTF label, and NBA Youngboy. What began as seemingly playful jabs took on a more personal tone when King Von allegedly started dating NBA Youngboy's ex-girlfriend Jania Meshel, adding emotional fuel to what would become a destructive fire. The situation reached a tragic turning point on November 6, 2020, when King Von was gunned down during an altercation outside a club in Atlanta that involved Quando Rondo and his crew. This devastating loss transformed what had been primarily a war of words into something much darker, with real bloodshed and grief at its center. For Durk, who was tight with Von both professionally and personally, this loss hit different, intensifying the tension between the camps. By 2022, the beef had evolved into a full-blown exchange of diss tracks. In February, Lil Durk dropped Ah-Ha, which took direct shots at NBA Youngboy and his crew. Youngboy responded with I Hate Youngboy, not only dissing Durk, but also mentioning his shorty India Royale and other figures like Gucci Mane. These weren't just tracks. They were declarations of war that reflected deeper personal and gang-related animosities. Then came the incident that would eventually lead to Durk's current legal troubles. In August 2022, a shooting outside a gas station in Los Angeles resulted in the death of Xavier Robinson, Quando Rondo's cousin. The feds later alleged this was a get-back mission orchestrated by OTF members, including Durk, as part of a murder-for-hire plot in response to King Von's death. This allegation formed the basis of the charges that led to Durk's arrest in October 2024. This cycle of violence and retaliation shows how rap beefs can escalate from verbal sparring to deadly consequences, especially when entangled with street affiliations and personal loyalties. It's a pattern that has become all too familiar in hip-hop, echoing earlier conflicts like the East Coast-West Coast beef of the 1990s, which similarly resulted in tragic losses. What makes this situation particularly powerful is that there were voices urging for peace and de-escalation. One of the most impactful came from Wallow 267, a podcaster and activist, who made an emotional plea to Durk not to seek revenge for King Von's death. In a moment that has resurfaced and gained renewed relevance since Durk's arrest, Wallow 267 shared his experience speaking to Durk and his crew in Chicago following Von's death.
You went viral when you broke into tears telling Lil Durk not to retaliate in King Von's death.
You know, it was so emotional because Durk, he said, I need you to come here, right? He said, we could do it in Miami, whatever, but I need you to come here because I need you to talk to these. That's what he told me. He said, I need you to talk to him, Wallow. I need you to talk to him. I said, all right, I got him. And when I get there, I didn't know it was gonna be that many. It was like 100 of them. We in the basement in Chicago. It's 100 of them.
And them niggas, they ready to ride?
Yeah, no, they just was there, you know.
Okay, they wanted to hear what you wanted to say.
No, it wasn't even that. They didn't even know why they was there. Dirk is like, we gonna do it in the hood.
Okay.
I want you to holler at them, boom, boom,
Okay.
boom. So I'm like, I got you. When I got there, I'm like, he like, man, listen, I need you to holler at him. It just so happened that when I'm talking to him, I understand, because I'm talking to a couple of them on the side, and I understand that nothing is more important in the ghetto than revenge. Revenge is king.
In this powerful moment, Wallow 267 breaks down the mindset that often drives cycles of violence in the hood, identifying revenge as king and the ego as the #1 killer of black men. He goes on to share his own story of forgiving his brother's killer, emphasizing the importance of living for family rather than dying for ego.
I'm telling them, it was emotional for me because I'm letting them know, the man that killed my brother, I forgave him. Am I a coward? Am I a punk? Well, I don't know what that mean, but I knew that forgiving him mean that I was willing to live for my brother in an environment where we celebrate dying for somebody. I said, no, I'm gonna live for my brother, my grandma, my brother, kids, my mama. I'm gonna live for them because don't nobody talk about that.
This message, delivered with raw emotion and personal conviction, offered an alternative path to the cycle of retaliation that often characterizes street beef. Wallow 267's plea was a call for breaking the destructive pattern, choosing life and family over revenge and perpetual violence. The fact that this message resurfaced in February 2025 after Durk's arrest on charges related to avenging King Von highlights the tragic irony of Durk's actions allegedly contradicting this wisdom. Wallow 267's message goes beyond Durk to address the broader issue of black men killing each other. In a 2022 interview following the death of rapper Takeoff, he expressed his fear and frustration with intra-community violence, saying, "If a black man kills me, you're going to hear my scream until life ends for everybody," reflecting his deep concern for the pattern of violence within the black community. This perspective adds another layer to the conversation about Durk's case, placing it within a larger context of community harm and healing. The charges against Durk hit different considering his rise from the trenches of Chicago to mainstream success. He won a Grammy for Best Melodic Rap Performance in February 2024 for All My Life with J. Cole, marking a high point in his career just months before his arrest. This stark contrast between his professional achievements and current legal troubles raises questions about the pull of street ties, even after getting the bag and gaining recognition. Durk's case also highlights the personal cost of these conflicts. Beyond the legal consequences, there's the impact on his family, including his 7 kids and their mothers. His 11-year-old son Zayden's public defense of his father, emphasizing Durk's community work and presumption of innocence, underscores how his arrest is affecting those who depend on him emotionally and financially. There have been moments of potential squashing of beef in this ongoing feud. In September 2024, a video surfaced showing Quando Rondo agreeing to dead the beef with Lil Durk, citing their shared faith as Muslims. Rondo stated, "I love a lot of brothers for the sake of Allah," suggesting a willingness to end the conflict. However, given Durk's arrest the following month on charges related to a plot against Rondo's circle, this call for peace evidently didn't lead to a broader resolution. The media's role in amplifying these beefs deserves scrutiny as well. Articles have criticized the approach of encouraging diss tracks for streams and views, with some DJs like DJ Drewski pulling violent diss songs from radio play to reduce escalation. This raises questions about responsibility and how these conflicts are covered and promoted, especially when they have the potential to spill over into real street violence. As we consider the broader implications of Durk's case, we can't ignore the connection to systemic issues affecting urban communities. The cycle of violence, incarceration, and retaliation reflects deeper problems of limited opportunities, trauma, and the normalization of conflict as a way of resolving disputes. These factors don't excuse criminal behavior, but provide context for understanding the environment that shapes these decisions. Wallow 267 himself speaks to this reality in his emotional plea, acknowledging the challenges of breaking cycles of violence when they're deeply embedded in hood politics and limited resources.
So it's deep. We tell these kids a lot of things. And all we do is criticize young black male every way possible. We criticize them as much as possible, but we don't bring no resources. You know how many people make money off of just criticizing us and talking down on not just us, as black people. But they don't got no, okay, you criticizing us. You got all these gigantic platforms. What we doing is cool, Shannon, but you got huge media platforms where they just want to tear the people down in the black community, but they ain't coming up with no solution and they ain't bringing no funding.
This perspective challenges us to look beyond individual cases to the systemic factors that contribute to these patterns, demanding more comprehensive solutions that address root causes rather than just symptoms. For Durk's fans and the broader hip-hop community, his case serves as a sobering reminder of the real-world consequences that can follow from these beefs. It's not just about music or social media. It's about lives lost, families torn apart, and promising careers derailed. The tragedy extends beyond Durk himself to include all those affected by the violence, including the family of Saviaya Robinson and others caught in the crossfire of these feuds. As Durk awaits his trial in October 2025, his case stands as a powerful example of how quickly fortunes can change and how past decisions can catch up even after getting to the bag and achieving success. For other artists navigating similar tensions, it offers a cautionary tale about the importance of breaking cycles of retaliation and finding alternative paths to resolving conflicts. In a particularly real moment from his interview, Wallow 267 offers advice that seems directly applicable to Durk's situation and others in similar positions.
You just rap some songs, right? I'm talking about you went in the studio, rap some songs. You got that publishing money. You got the, a bunch of money. It depends on how your deal structure. You got all that tour money. You got 10, 15 million in the bank. I think it's about time to start being a pussy, man. I think it's about time to start being a I'm just being real because, I'm not the one designed and I'm not built like that to tell you some bull, Shannon, to say be tough.
This blunt advice challenges the notion that maintaining street cred should take priority over preserving one's freedom, success, and ability to take care of family. It's a perspective that values life and legacy over the temporary validation that comes from upholding a tough image or seeking revenge. As we wrap up our exploration of Lil Durk's current situation, we're left with a complex picture of talent, loyalty, conflict, and consequences. His case exemplifies both the heights that can be reached through artistic expression and the depths that can follow when street codes clash with legal boundaries. It reminds us of the human cost of these conflicts and the importance of finding ways to break destructive cycles. For now, Durk remains locked up at MDC Los Angeles, but he's not in this alone. Word is, he's still getting support from his girlfriend India and close family. The women in his corner support amid controversy. In the months since Durk got locked up, India has made several public statements showing her feelings and support. On March 9th, 2025, which happened to be her 30th birthday, she posted on social media saying, "I miss my man. There's no one like him." This heartfelt message shows how much she's feeling Durk's absence, especially during big moments when they would normally be celebrating together. Her support hasn't just been limited to social media posts. After Durk's court hearing on October 29th, 2024, India was spotted outside the Miami courthouse, showing up in person to hold him down during the legal proceedings. This physical presence speaks volumes, especially considering the seriousness of the charges and the fact that Durk could be cooked for life if convicted. India's loyalty has got the internet buzzing with all kinds of reactions. Some folks are questioning whether she'll keep that same energy if Durk gets convicted, while others have pointed out that she knew what she was signing up for with his lifestyle and the risks that come with it. Regardless of what the outsiders think, her consistent presence shows she's really down for Durk during this difficult time. In early March 2025, India dropped another powerful gesture of support, a black and white Instagram story flick of them laughing together, with Lauryn Hill's "Nothing Even Matters" playing in the background. This post hit different, emphasizing her emotional connection to Durk, with social media users commenting on how much she's obviously missing him, with one person writing, "She miss her man, leave her alone, ee." Another female who's been holding Durk down is his mother. While she hasn't been as vocal on social media as India, her actions speak louder than words. During a detention hearing on December 12, 2024, she was seen crying and, along with family and friends, shouted, "We love you," as Durk was being led away. This emotional display of a mother's love shows the family bonds that remain strong despite all the legal drama Durk is facing. It's worth noting that other females connected to Durk, like his baby mama Nicole Cavone, mother of his children Angelo and Bella, and the mothers of his other kids, haven't really been making public statements about his current situation. This suggests that his strongest female support is coming from his current shorty and his moms, who have been the most vocal and visible during this time. The support from these women stands in sharp contrast to the heavy charges Durk is facing. He's accused of orchestrating a hit on Quando Rondo that resulted in the death of Rondo's cousin, Saviaya Lul Pab Robinson, in August 2022. The Department of Justice has dropped detailed info about the case, alleging that OTF members paid for flights and travel for the hit squad from Chicago to California, with Durk flying private. If convicted, Durk could be looking at a life sentence. Given these serious allegations, the unwavering support from India Royale and Durk's mother hits different. They're standing 10 toes down for him during what might be the hardest chapter of his life, with his freedom, career, and future all hanging in the balance. Their actions show a deep personal loyalty that goes beyond the public image and legal troubles, focusing instead on the man they know and love. This support extends to the broader OTF family and fan base. The hashtag #FreeDurk is all over social media, often connected to posts about his music or legal updates. Fans are in their feelings about how his incarceration is stopping him from enjoying his success, with one person writing, "He was at the top, Grammy winner, and now locked up in some Fed cage. Free smirk." This collective energy shows a community rallying behind Durk, complementing the personal support from his family. But let's keep it a buck. Not everyone is sympathetic to Durk's situation. Some critics feel like he's just facing the consequences of his own choices, especially considering his wealth and success. As one person put it, he had millions. Why risk it all for street stuff? Now he's in Fed lockup. No sympathy. This perspective highlights the split in public opinion about Durk's case and the different ways people are interpreting his actions and current circumstances. Durk's relationship with India Royale has been particularly under the microscope since his arrest. Their history includes public breakups and getting back together, with India confirming they split in 2022, but later appearing to reconnect with Durk. Their relationship has been a major part of Durk's public image, with him proposing to her during a radio concert in 2021, showing a softer side that contrasts with the hard image often associated with drill music. What makes their relationship especially notable is how Durk has referenced India in his music, often expressing mad love and loyalty. This public declaration of love has made her an important figure in his story, not just as his shorty, but as a symbol of stability and commitment in his life. Her continued support during his bid extends this narrative, showing that their connection goes beyond the challenges of his legal troubles. For Durk's mother, the situation probably brings back memories of previous legal issues her son has faced. In 2019, Durk and King Von were booked for a non-lethal shooting in Atlanta, with Durk getting out on a $250,000 bond and the charges eventually getting dismissed in October 2022. His legal history also includes a 2014 conviction for gun charges, where he managed to avoid jail time. As a mother who's seen her son go through the system multiple times, her emotional support hits even deeper. The women in Durk's life are navigating a complex situation that goes beyond personal relationships to touch on bigger issues of loyalty, justice, and community. Their support provides a different perspective to the legal proceedings and media coverage, reminding us that there's a human element to these high-profile cases. Behind the rapper facing serious charges is a man with deep connections to his family and loved ones who continue to hold him down. This support from female figures, particularly India Royale and his mother, offers an important perspective on Durk's current situation. It reminds us that even as the legal system and public opinion are passing judgment, there are those who maintain faith in him and hope for his return. Their voices add complexity to the narrative, challenging us to see beyond the headlines to the personal bonds that remain strong even in the midst of serious legal challenges. That brings us to the end of this video. For more interesting videos like this, click on the cards on your screen.